Alright, time for yet another example of how the past can kill you! Yes, that's right. In this episode, Picard finds an antique Promelian ship from 1,000 years ago. Yeah, but also we have Geordi, you know, Geordi's trying to find a romantic partner episode, which is weird due to the small number of them and the fact that he falls in love with a hologram later in the episode. Christy Henshaw actually shows up as a character in at least 2 episodes, though, which is noteworthy because the fact that she's a named character that wasn't a main cast. There's actually a surprisingly large number of them, but still. Anyways, back to the Promelians. Picard has found a Promelian battlecruiser, and it's just drifting in space without power at all. And of course, he's like, ooh, shiny. And people go over there and trying to figure out what's wrong with it, and find, of course, that the entire crew is dead because, again, it's been there 1,000 years. No one really intentionally left it there, so obviously it's there because the crew is dead. But they don't really understand why at first. What killed the crew? What left the ship just sitting there? Well, the Promelians were in this war with the Minthars around that time period, and what we find out is that the Promelian battlecruiser was disabled by a power-draining minefield created by the Minthars, called aceton assimilators. Yes. Seriously, this is all of the information that is known about the Minthars. No one sees one or any of their technology. It's mentioned that the asteroids surrounding the antique Promelian ship are what is creating the energy drain because they have aceton assimilators hidden inside them. However, we don't see them. The Minthars were, however, said to be strategic geniuses, and one of the things that they did often was what's called a passive lure stratagem, which, given what we know about what happened to that Promelian ship, the Klepunji, seems like the passive lure stratagem was anticipate where you want the enemy to be, booby trap the heck out of it, and then trick them into going where you are booby trapped. Oh, hey, now that they're dead, you win. Like, seriously. Nothing described in this episode actually sounds like complicated military tactics, but we do have examples of it being effective because of the fact that these guys died. And apparently, they did not actually kill any of the Minthars in the process. So yeah, the Klepunji lost its final battle and was abandoned to drift in space. Oh yeah, Klepunji crew. We see this guy in Captain Galaxar. Galaxar, of course, is visible only on a recording because of the fact that, oh yeah, he died 1,000 years ago. This is not Galaxar. We have no idea who this is. In fact, in the episode, no one has any idea who this is. They just know that it's one of the Promelians and dead. See, the thing with the Promelians, and this is a very strange one, this is something that actually jumped out at me in the episode when I first saw it. Picard talks about the Promelians and the Minthars as being races that the Federation had had contact with. Well, the Federation had studied extensively as part of military strategy and tactics and stuff. But they weren't a race that they actually met. And does comparisons, very, very detailed comparisons in the episode of Federation technology with that of the Minthars and the Promelians. And that part of the reason why this Promelian battlecruiser was so interesting and worthy of being hauled off to a museum was the fact that the Promelians had very sophisticated uses of tech, not just highly advanced tech. And he claimed that their tactical heads-up displays were something that, well, here, it took until the 23rd century for the Federation to make tactical heads-up displays that are as good as that created by the Promelians 1,000 years ago. What? I don't understand how that was possible, but whatever. It's what they say in the episode. Also, because it's one of those one-off designs that they threw together for a single actor makeup, only seen in one episode, they didn't really go to a whole lot of effort making them truly distinctive, just not human looking. Obviously not human was what they seem to be going for here. Also, in a rare departure from the norm, they actually made a skeletal version of a dead Promelian. Very much not something they would normally do because they don't bother putting skeletons in most episodes. But interesting nonetheless. Also, it gives us a decent idea as to a Promelian fashion. Strikingly similar to Federation, honestly, just with differently placed bars and ribbed patches. Even has like a little shoulder patch here. See, like is it like ship ensign or something? Anyway, though, so using this in a TTRPG, though, this is an episode where the defining moment of the episode is when Geordi takes a holographic simulation of Leah Brahms and tells the holographic simulation of Leah Brahms to pilot the Enterprise out of the aceton assimilator trap while rapidly reversing the polarity of energy being pumped into the engines, because having the energy in the engines reverse polarity over and over and over again really, really fast was what they needed in order to be able to get out of the aceton assimilator field. Also, given that aceton assimilators are a known technology to the Federation, you would think the Federation would have some sort of a countermeasure for them, given that it's 1,000-year-old technology. But, yeah. It's possible that the Federation does. It's just that Picard didn't have any in his cargo bay or something. Seriously, what? Why? Huh? Makes it sound like it's an impossible to escape booby trap, when in reality, if you know it's there, you should be able to do something about it. But nah. However, that is actually something that is part of the thing about this that I personally find most interesting in the context of a TTRPG. What would you and your players have as a solution to this problem? Because that is actually one of the things about this episode that struck me most about Picard's actions when I first watched the episode. I found myself thinking, well, that's not what I would do, over and over again in the episode. And again, that's makes it fertile ground for having a group of TTRPG players messing around with the ideas in this episode. What would you do would you do it the same way that Picard did, or would you do something differently? If you would do it differently, what would you do differently, and why? This is something that you could actually write pretty easily as a holodeck simulation where a crew is doing a training exercise. And you just write a very similar scenario. Maybe, as part of the training exercise, they just make up an alien race so that the people doing the training exercise don't immediately know exactly what the problem is and have to actually figure out what the problem is. But, definitely something you could easily do. Having the players create a holographic simulation of a Federation engineer and fall in love with the hologram, that seems like a bad idea, but hey, you know what? Players are chaotic stupid and will often do random stupid things just because they like doing random stupid things. A lot of people find doing random stupid things to be fun. I don't know why, but they do. Anyway, though, this episode is also noteworthy because of the amount of sets that they did for it. Like, they apparently made a model of the Promelian battle cruiser for the episode. Even showed up later again in the Picard series. Oh yeah. Also, they actually walk around the inside of the ship. This is one of those things where you look at this and you're like, hang on a second. That's a very elaborate set for something that they only see once. And I look at this and I'm like, there's got to be a trick to this one. I really feel like if you were to look at this from a different angle, it would be like cardboard held together with duct tape or something. Because seriously, when you look, like, carefully look at this stuff, it's obviously made to look good from this angle, and I don't think any of it would look good from other angles. But I can't verify that. Also, I find it highly doubtful that they would actually go to a huge amount of money building a set that they're just going to rip apart later. But that is a significant amount of the budgeting in episodes like this. Anyway, so poor dead guy. Died of radiation poisoning. Yeah, because the whole acetone assimilator trap drains the power from a ship, converts it into radiation, and then irradiates the crew of the ship with the radiation. You would think that the acetone assimilators would break at some point, though, but apparently not. Weird how they were still working after 1,000 years. Then again, despite having been irradiated hard enough to kill the entire crew, the ship seemed to be in perfect working order, too. Gee, convenient power plot. At least it would make sense if it was a holographic simulation and not, supposed to be a real starship in universe. Oh, well. And that's about it for this episode. Holographic Leia Brahms was a strange plot development. And using the justification of they needed holographic Leia Brahms, because even Data, with his android reflexes, was unable to make the computer alternate things fast enough, because it needed to be adaptive alternation because it couldn't be a perfectly regular alternation sequence or something, but it had to be super fast. So they needed to have an AI controlling the ship's computer in order to make it work. Gee, how could that possibly go wrong? Yeah. Oh boy. Also, seriously, it's like, why did they feel the need to destroy the Klapanji when they could just blow up the asteroids? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Oh well. That was honestly, though, I think thrown into the episode as a sort of like a personal growth moment for Picard, even though felt incredibly um forced. It's like, oh no, we found this ancient thing that is priceless, and yet I have to destroy it in order to ensure no one is killed. Oh well, pity. Oh, and I'm going to blow up the thing that was killing people. Again, there's a reason why, as a teenager, I saw this episode and I was like, that's not how I would do this. And that aspect is where this one would get really, really interesting in a TTRPG. And I think I'm going to leave you guys with this picture of Leia kissing Geordi because, as it turns out later, Leia actually doesn't like him.